Good morning, and thank you very much for that introduction. So I left my hotel room about an hour ago, and I'm walking down the corridor to the elevators, and two women who I guess were at the gym are walking back to their rooms, and they see me in my white shirt and tie and blazer, and one turns to the other and goes, "He's so conference." And I think to myself, ladies, I've been so confident since about the age of 13. And speaking of 13, I do want to congratulate HCCA on its 13th Annual Compliance Institute. You know, in Hebrew tradition, when you've turned 13, you're no longer considered an adolescent. You have gained maturity. You're now an adult. And I don't know, Roy, whether you're planning a bar mitzvah for HCCA or not, but I don't think you need to, because I think HCCA has been a very mature organization, extremely important in the healthcare compliance field nationally for many years. But attaining 13 is special. And since I devoted last year to Dante, I thought it was important this year to recognize the bar mitzvah of 13. Las Vegas makes a lot of sense, not only because I think it could be a fun place to hold a convention, but obviously given the size of HCCA in terms of space and maybe the kind of deal that you can strike with a hotel of this size, it just makes a lot of good sense to hold it here. And the fact of the matter is, you know, compliance, healthcare compliance, is a growth industry. And in that sense, I'm always surprised to hear that anybody would consider, in any sense, reducing or cutting back on the healthcare compliance function as a way of somehow saving dollars. That just strikes me as so counterintuitive. If there's any industry, even in these troubled times, that is growing, that needs greater resources and more attention paid to it, it would be healthcare compliance. It's not as if we're selling buggy whips in an age of the automobile, where you may have to rethink your business model. If anything, the dollars, the public dollars, are getting bigger. And you don't have to wait for what might happen with healthcare reform to understand the implications and the consequences of that. And I'm certainly not going to, although we are in Las Vegas and you can make odds on just about anything here. I guess you can make odds in some corner of Caesar Palace whether tomorrow will be Tuesday. But you know, I don't know exactly what the contours of healthcare reform may well look like as deliberations get started in earnest, basically as we speak. But you don't have to wait for healthcare reform to understand that our programs are growing and growing significantly. Medicaid already is experiencing a significant growth as a result of the stimulus package that we're just getting underway and spending those dollars. And as for Medicare, the baby boom generation, you know, defined as those born between 1946 and 1964, you know, they're about to begin applying for Medicare in about a year and a half. And what I read recently is that there are 78 million Americans in that category. This is a growth industry. We're not shrinking in healthcare compliance. We need to grow along with those growth in dollars, and we need to grow in sophistication of how we're going to handle that enormous, larger portfolio. Healthcare reform is a priority of the administration and the Congress. There are financial strains, but even with those financial strains, there's an understanding that it's important to make healthcare investments part of the whole effort towards righting the economy is to get healthcare right, and that is unquestionably going to be a significant part of congressional and executive activity during the next few years. Everyone supports a robust healthcare compliance program as well, and I can say that in all the meetings I've held this year, in both chambers, in both the Senate and the House, on both sides of the aisle, no matter who you talk to in Congress, everybody wants to know what they can do to help support the effort to reduce fraud, waste, and abuse in the, well, at this point, more than $600 to $700 billion that flow through HHS programs, most of it dedicated to Medicare and to Medicaid. We've thought in our own OIG about how to craft in a very straightforward way the fundamental principles by which we do our work. And we have come up with a five-principle strategy, as we call it. One, enrollment, to scrutinize provider applicants. Two is payment, to use reasonable and responsive methods. Three is compliance, to assist providers in complying with our healthcare laws. Oversight, to monitor for fraud, waste, and abuse. And effective response, to punish fraud and to remedy vulnerabilities. If you needed a new acronym, and of course Washington is the nation's headquarters for acronyms, perhaps the world's headquarters for acronyms, EPCOR is our five principles, EPCOR. And they're not just our principles, they really are your principles as well. This is what we are in the business of doing as healthcare compliance professionals. And I think it's important that throughout our talk this morning, we recognize that we are living in parallel universes that have lots of connections, one with the other. That for virtually all the things that we do in OIG, there is a counterpart. There is another side that you as compliance officers and compliance officials are doing for your enterprises.